After the naval battle of Salamis near Athens, the great Persian king Xerxes fled home, leaving his army under the command of Mardonius. He established a formidable camp near the plains of Plataea. The Greeks united under the Spartan general Pausanias. They knew that they had to defeat the Persian army in order to save themselves from the Persian threat once and for all. This was a battle for the very soul of Western civilization. The year was 479 BC. The outcome of this battle would determine the course of history for centuries to come. It would shape the future of Europe and the Western world. If you find value in this content, consider subscribing and hit the like button. Thanks. Let's get back to the battle. Faced with the overwhelming might of the Persian Empire, the Greeks understood that their survival depended on unity. The forging of alliances between cities that had often been at odds was no small feat. These were cities with long histories of rivalry and conflict. Yet, they recognized the necessity of setting aside their differences. Warriors who once faced each other on the battlefield now stood shoulder to shoulder, united by a shared purpose. With its disciplined hoplites and legendary prowess, Sparta was the natural leader of the armies. The Athenian fleet was unmatched in its agility and strength, capable of outmaneuvering and outthinking their enemies on the open sea. But their military was very capable. The combined forces of Athens and Sparta, along with other city-states, created a formidable alliance that could stand against the Persian threat. Their leaders knew that the survival of Greece depended on their ability to work together, to put aside their personal and political differences for the greater good. Finally meeting at Plataea, the two armies stood poised, separated by a thin veil of uncertainty. The Spartan general Pausanias carefully chose the Greek position. He knew they couldn't match the Persians in numbers, so he had to make every advantage count, no matter how small. The Greeks deployed their forces on higher ground, hoping to negate the Persian advantage in cavalry. Yet nothing really happened. Days turned into weeks as both sides engaged in a tense standoff. Skirmishes erupted between scouting parties, testing each other's strength and resolve. Mardonius was a cunning and ruthless commander and sought to break the deadlock. He launched raids to disrupt the Greek supply lines, hoping to starve them into submission. He even attempted to sow discord amongst the Greek allies, exploiting their differences and offering them tempting deals for their surrender. And there were those within the Greek ranks who were susceptible to such offers. The possibility of betrayal spread throughout the camps, causing doubts in even the most steadfast hearts. The pressure was immense, and the fate of Greece seemed to hang by a thread. United in their resolve, the Greeks devised a daring plan to lure the Persians into a decisive confrontation. Under the cover of darkness, they began a strategic withdrawal towards a more defensible position, hoping to provoke the overconfident Mardonius into action. The Persian commanders sensed an opportunity to crush the Greek forces once and for all, and took the bait. At dawn, the two armies clashed in a thunderous roar of steel and determination. The battlefield was a chaotic maelstrom of warriors, each side fighting with everything they had. Greek hoplites were disciplined and resolute, and formed an impenetrable phalanx with their shields and spears, creating a formidable wall of death. With their vast numbers and diverse units, the Persians launched wave after wave of attacks, trying to break the Greek lines. Arrows rained down, swords clashed, and the ground trembled under the weight of the battle. In the midst of the chaos, the Greek commander Pausanias displayed remarkable leadership. With their legendary discipline, the Spartans stood firm, while the Athenians and other Greek allies fought valiantly beside them. The battle raged on for hours, with neither side willing to yield. But slowly, the tide began to turn. The Greeks pushed back against the Persian forces, inch by inch. Finally, Mardonius himself died, delivering a crucial blow to Persian morale. the Greeks seized the moment, launching a final decisive assault that broke the Persian lines. The invaders were routed, fleeing in disarray as the Greeks pursued them relentlessly. In the end, it was the Greeks who stood triumphant on the blood-soaked fields of Plataea, their spirits unbroken and their legacy secure. The Battle of Plataea had ended, but its impact was just beginning to ripple. Greece had not only survived, but emerged victorious, preserving their way of life and setting the stage for a new era of Hellenic civilization. The Battle of Plataea marked a turning point in the Greco-Persian Wars. The Persian threat had been vanquished, never again to threaten Greece. The newfound solidarity among the city-states would be instrumental in the rise of classical Greece, a period marked by unprecedented advancements in philosophy, art, science, and governance. The victory at Plataea also solidified the reputation of the Greek hoplites, whose discipline and courage had proven decisive. Their phalanx formation became legendary and would influence military tactics for centuries to come. But perhaps the most profound consequence was the inspiration it provided to future generations. The stories of heroism and sacrifice at Plataea were immortalized. The ideals of democracy, freedom, and civic duty, which the Greeks had fought to protect, would go on to form the bedrock of Western political thought. Their victory ensured the survival of Greek culture, which in turn laid the foundations for the Renaissance and the Enlightenment. In the end, the triumph at Plataea was not just a victory for Greece, but a victory for all of humanity. It was a moment that would be remembered for millennia, a pivotal chapter in the grand narrative of human history. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Trot Historia to continue learning from history.